Hello friends, hope you all are doing well and staying creative. I've been getting a lot of questions on vocal processing, so in this video I'm going to show you a couple ways you can make some trippy vocal effects. So let's dive right in with the first thing I want to show you, which is this plugin called Pathways by the man, the myth, the legend, Dylan Baston. He is the GOAT. He makes a lot of cool Max for Live devices. Some are free and some are pretty cheap, like this one. This one is about like 15 bucks, so not too bad. And the concept of this plugin is very interesting. So what it is that you drag some audio into here, and that's what you see here, these lines. This is the readout of the audio waveform. And then you can draw in whatever you want. You can put in a shape, you can draw in a line, anything. And it will play the audio along the pathway of that line. That might sound kind of confusing, so let me demonstrate. I have some vocals here in this track, so let me play you a little snippet. And there's little different iterations and variations of that vocal, like over here. So say I wanted to create some vocal texture or background. Pathways is a pretty cool way to do it. So let me just grab some of these vocals here. I'm just gonna open up a new channel. Just take these, and there's like, here, I'm just gonna do that. Consolidate that so we have a little bit of like a chunk of vocals, and I'm just gonna drag that into Pathways. So let me erase what I got here. Boom, boom, boom. Scrub, scrub, scrub. And here is our audio wave file. So you can kind of see here where it lights up a little bit of a lighter color. That's where there is audio, and you can kind of see that here. It corresponds, the vocal corresponds with what you see on Pathways. Let me mute that channel, turn that on. All right, so now first step is to draw in a shape. I'm gonna go simple and just put in a square. And I'll show you. Now you can see how this works. I'm gonna solo it. Sounds kind of weird, right? Sounds pretty weird, but as you can see, this line, this is what you follow. This is what's playing the audio. Oops, didn't want to do that. And I'm gonna move that. If you go to this arrow, you can kind of move this around. And I want to actually slow that down. So if you go over here to length, you can turn that up. I'm gonna turn it to 4, so it's playing slower. So now it's a little bit, you can hear the vocal, the words a bit. I'm gonna bring it over here where there's like more audio. And then you can change the rates. So let's put the rate to 1.5. No, let's put it 2. So already it's sounding a little trippy. Let's play it with the context of the track. I mean, let me go to a part that doesn't have any vocals. I'll just turn this off, actually. And we can move this around. So what I would honestly recommend is just opening up another audio channel, selecting Pathways, and then just recording like a long sesh and just chop up whatever you need. That's how I use it. So like, take that off, go over here, let that play for a little bit. We can up the voices, maybe even the rate. We can also change the direction that this is flowing, so we can have it flow backwards. So now I drew in a circle, so we're having two parts of the waveform playing. Add a little bit of EQ and reverb just to put it more in the back of the mix. And we have this little pattern going. And then what you could do is over here on the Y-axis and play mode, you can change the way it's manipulating the sound. So you could do it on pan. Right now it's on filter for the Y-axis, but you can have it on pan. It's pretty cool. And then this gets even crazier. On play mode, you can set it to granular. So now it's doing some granular synthesis, which gets very trippy. Yeah, that sounds dope. So if we layer that with what we recorded here, that should sound pretty cool. I'm gonna decrease the gain. I love the way that sounds. It's a little bit crowded, but it's got a lot of potential, a lot of cool little effects not effects, but little textures to work with. And that was just from like 2 minutes or whatever, a couple minutes of playing with pathways. So if you can go even deeper down this rabbit hole. So let me mute these. Let's play with it a little bit more before I go to the next one. If I didn't mention already, you can change the directions. So there's more directions here. You can go back and forth and then like outwards versus inwards. If you change this y-axis back to filter, you can start messing with these filter parameters over here, like the cutoff, the width of the filter, and then the Q. And on this grain, you can even bump it up however many semitones. So if you do a whole octave, it creates this very cool effect. It's weird. It almost sounds like the little characters in Animal Crossing. Maybe that's how they made this. I don't know. With grain delay, who knows? So hopefully you can already see the potential of this plugin to create really cool sounds, very nice textures. And you don't even have to throw, of course, a vocal. You can throw a synth sound in there, a drum sound. There really is no rules to this. There's no rules to this, so it's all just about experimentation. That's just a big part of sound design, is just to think outside the box. So, okay, now let's move on to the second method. Okay, now for the second plugin, which is called Hysteresis. This is a free plugin. I have mentioned it on my channel before, so if you've seen me talk about it, well, sorry, you're about to see me talk about it again. But if you're new and you don't know what this plugin is, you're in luck, because I love this thing and hopefully I'm about to blow your mind. So yeah, like I said, it's free. So I have this little this breakdown here where it's kind of just the bass line and the vocal. So I'm using it to just add some more like effects and make it a little bit more interesting when there's really not much else going on in the track. So I'll just play it from like right before the break. So this is like the kind of intro to the break, and then it really cuts out.
In time, with the electronic stance. With the electronic stance. With the electronic stance.
All right, let me isolate the vocal here. So all that little like fluttering that you're hearing, that is Hysteresis plugin. So I'm actually automating. I put it into an effect rack, and I'm just kind of automating the plugin in and out. So
with the electronic stance.
All those weird little noises of this plugin. So I'm just gonna open up a new channel here. Just go there, drag in one of these vocals, and just copy some of these effects over so it doesn't sound like shit.
The electronic stance.
So we already have a little bit of a delay, but it's a pretty short delay. I'll just turn it off for now. So we're getting, we're just hearing Hysteresis along with just like the EQ I put on there. Take this, put it around the channel. And so without Hysteresis, you just heard it. We'll play it again.
With the electronic stance.
Okay, actually I'm gonna put this delay back in next. It has a lot.
With the electronic stance.
Okay, so that's that vocal. Now let's turn Hysteresis on.
With the electronic stance.
So I really don't know exactly what this is doing on the back end of the plugin. It's doing some like delay, some granular stuff. But all you really need to know is that you got this mod effects. So I usually keep the rate at either 1 or divided by 10. And in this, I'm just modulating, I'm automating the mod rate, the feedback, which is right here, feedback. the stutter speed, which is this stutter, that's that effect, and then and the modulation amount, which is right here, the mod depth. So let's just play around with that real quick. So when you start modulating these parameters, you start getting very weird sounds. The main thing you want to be concerned with here is the stutter and the mod effects. That's the primary components creating all the chaos. So
with the electronic sun, the electronic, with the electronic sun.
Get really crazy. Turn that feedback up. Turn the time on the delay down.
With the electronic sun. The electronic, with the electronic sun.
We can bump this up to +10, which, if I remember correctly, doesn't sound good, but let's just see. I might be wrong.
With the electronic sun. The electronic, with the electronic sun.
Yeah, it's just, I mean, it's not necessarily bad, but it's, for me, at least, it's harder to use, the plus times 10, but, you know, there's always a creative way to use, like, pretty much any sound. So even
with
this,
the electronic sun.
it could still be a very nice effect, some sort of, like, spacey, blah, 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 you know.
With the electronic sun.
And I'll bump this down back to times 1. Times 1.
With the electronic sun. The electronic, with the electronic sun.
And then that's just me messing with the default plugin. Like when you just open it up, there's a shit ton of presets in here that I don't really explore too much. I don't know why. I have a lot of fun just messing with the knobs myself, but I'm sure these presets sound amazing. Let's just try this Droid Lament.
With the electronic sun.
Yeah, I mean, you got
the electronic,
like a
with the
vocoder.
electronic sun.
Oh yeah. Oh god. Okay, that was annoying. Yeah, I see why I don't use the presets. I guess they're a little much sometimes. Yeah, they're interesting. They're kind of crazy. That sounds pretty cool. But you get the point. This plugin is just pure chaos in this small little package, and I love it. I've used it a bunch. Yeah, so check it out. It's by Glitch Machines. It's free, so yay. So this last method involves using the slice function and sampler. So I got some vocals on this track, which, by the way, I just released on Lemon Herb Records on their VA. Dope VA, a lot of cool artists. So check it out. It's free on Bandcamp. Put a link in the description to that. So there's already a vocal in this track, but I just want to use this as an example to create some background textures. So there's this big, long, like 2-minute vocal that I put in here. So we can just take a quick little listen to that. Let me just open up some audio. It's from the movie Dune, the original Dune movie.
Beginning is a very delicate time. Know then that it is the year 10,001.
So, you know, it's just this lady talking. So in the context of the track, it sounds like this. I just clipped up little parts of it. Oh.
The spice extends life.
It's pretty simple, just has some reverb and delay. But we can take that and drop it into simpler and use this slice function to create some little bit of movement, some grooves, just using this vocal. So what the slice function does, if you don't know already, is that it slices the audio into different regions. There's a couple different algorithms that you can use to slice the audio. So the first one is transient, where it's just finding the transients in that audio waveform and using that to slice it. So it works really great for drums, but also in this where, you know, these vocals, these words have little transients to them. So it's able to catch these transients, and you can mess with the sensitivity of the transient detection. So I have mine at 59%, but if you increase this, it's going to capture every single vowel and word. So I don't want that. I want it to be more intersparse throughout this whole 2-minute region of this track playing and have it be a little bit more random. The second one is beat, which will slice it into even divisions based on the timing that you give here. So 1/4, like quarter notes, half notes, blah, blah, blah. You get the point. I honestly don't use the beat function too much, the beat slicing. You can also do region. I use region quite frequently, where it just, you can pick how many regions you want and it'll slice your audio into those even intervals. And the last one is just manual, where you create the slices yourself. For this, I'm using transient because it's capturing those little words. And now this allows me to play the vocal on a keyboard. So I can come into here, turn this on. So you can see it's going through different parts of this audio. And from there, you could either punch in some sort of groove or pattern within the piano roll. But what I like to do is put a sequencer on it. I think it makes it a little bit easier to create a pattern, and also it sparks for me more creative ideas, especially with a sequencer like this called Roser, which is a free Max for Live plugin. I've talked about it a billion times, but it has this randomize function, so I just keep clicking random till I get a pattern that sounds good. So let's just take a listen to what it is. I'm gonna click random, and let's just listen to that. Let's listen to it with the context of the track. I'm gonna adjust this frequency. Let's randomize this again. Now let's turn this resonance up. Let me randomize this again. You can also change the rate. I prefer the 8th notes, but 16th might work. Sometimes it's just too fast. For this track, it's a little too fast. I might work on something more high energy. From here, you can create an envelope to the frequency cutoff to make those notes a little bit more tighter, because I think they ring out too much. So let's reduce this resonance. Go to the envelope, and we'll do the amount. Turn that up. There we go. Yeah, now it's sounding a lot cleaner. So I have the amount all the way up. Turn that resonance up a bit. Turn the amount down, and then I'm going to randomize it one more time. Let's see if we can strike some gold. I'm going to put another EQ on it. It's a little bit, got a lot of low mids. And then you can go to the pitch LFO, have some very slight modulation on the pitch. That was probably pretty cool. Turn off retrigger. Yeah. One more randomize. And you can link a lot of these together. I do that quite frequently, where I will open up a Midi channel and then select our simpler channel. So now all that MIDI information that's coming from Roser is going to be recorded into here. So here's what I'll do is I'll record, right, let this finish playing. Alright, so that's one, and I can put that there, randomize, record again. Now let's do one more, randomize, and record. You know, now we have these three that I can bring up here. Turn off Roser. So now we have a pretty long random string of these vocal glitches and delays, and just pop in here, in and out. So it's not like a main vocal, but definitely could work as something in the background or to augment the primary vocal. And from here, you're going to want to process the sound a little bit further because it sounds a little too much like it's just some samples triggering. So one thing you could do is just freeze and flatten this to audio. So I just duplicated it. I'm going to freeze this track. I'm going to flatten it so it's converted all to audio. And then, of course, we can open up our good old friend Pathways from the earlier part of this video and drop it in there, right? So little revisit of Pathways, drop our audio into there, add some grain delay or granulizer, draw in some shapes, turn up this length. And that really transforms the sound. The other thing you can do is, instead of doing all that, let me delete that. Let's go back to our original. Is just add a grain delay. I mean, there's a billion different effects you could possibly add to this, but if we're just sticking with Ableton, I'm just gonna go with grain delay. Let's put it before the reverb. And on grain delay, there's a couple things I like, which there's this where you turn up the pitch by 12. Let's bring this frequency down, turn the feedback up, turn the dry wet down, turn the spray up just a little bit, and then you get this effect. Or if you do it very slightly, just do it by 0.2. So you get this little slow increase in the pitch as the delay progresses and feedbacks. And now let's turn sync off. Now this is just sitting in the background, just adding some weirdness. This is a little bit crowded, so a lot of times with Roser, like, you will have to probably delete some of these because it's just creating too many notes. So just delete some, make it a little bit more spaced out. Just do that here. That's sounding a lot better. So there you have it. Those are 3 ways to create some really trippy vocal effects in Ableton Live. I really hope you found this helpful. If you did, don't forget to like the video, subscribe to the channel, listen to some of my music. I'd really appreciate that. And if you want to get updates on what I'm doing, where I'm playing, on some jam videos, things like that, go check out my Instagram. I got all that shit there. So yeah, hope you have a wonderful day. Take care, stay creative. Peace.